Dr. Jenn Kennedy, sexologist, couples therapist, and host of Pleasure Project. This podcast is all about sex, relationships, and the complicated and fascinating space where they collide. We talk about desire, connection, dysfunction, communication, exploration, toys, trends, and the things people usually are thinking about, but not always saying out loud. Some episodes feature leading experts, and sometimes it's just me and honest conversations with you. Either way, the goal is simple: more insight, more connection, and more pleasure. If you enjoy these conversations, you can follow along on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn at Dr. Jenn Kennedy, or visit my website at drjenkennedy.com for even more resources and conversations around intimacy, relationships. All right, let's get into it. All right, welcome back. I was lucky enough to get Dr. Nicole back on. She's going to come back on and tell us about play parties.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you back. So we were talking about what would be fun to tell the listeners. And you were telling me that recently you had prepped one of your clients to go to a play party. And I was like, what is that? So give us a heads up on, first of all, what are play parties? And then we're going to dive into that.
So a play party is basically a sex party where you sometimes are invited, always vetted, and sometimes you pay. Most of the times you pay. Sometimes it's maybe $100 and it's in some fancy house in the valley. Sometimes it's in the Hollywood Hills in a mansion. Mm-hmm. So a play party can be so many different things.
I've heard sometimes women don't play. I've heard sometimes women don't pay, men do pay. Is that
right? So that sometimes
common?
Yeah. So sometimes you don't pay, sometimes you do. I think at the higher end ones, for example, there was one, my first play party was called Elysian House. And that I was invited to go as a single woman. However, couples or men paid $1,500 to go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they can range anywhere from like a sliding scale because people want it to be more, the hosts want it to be more approachable. So let's say starting at $70, or they can be thousands of dollars. So I recently just watched Eyes Wide Shut and I was like, because everyone's like, oh my God, the scene with the sex party. And when I watched it, I was like, this isn't really that big of a deal. So I think it's because, I mean, it is if you never have seen that, but if you've ever been to a sex party, like that was actually kind of tame. So they just run the gamut depending on who the hosts are and what the theme is and where it's being held. So there's a few, and I can mention them because they're out there. I already said Elysian House, although I don't know if they're still posting them. There's another big one called Lovely Fate, and this is the one I prepped my client for, and we actually went together last week. And Lovely Fate had a big write-up in Playboy a few months ago, so they kind of exploded, and they're based in Los Angeles. But pretty much any major city is going to have them, and you just kind of have to snoop around the internet or reach out to someone like me. Have resources all over the world. And basically I went to my first one by myself. I went to my first dungeon by myself. So that's how I am. But what I didn't realize is a lot of people would never do that. And so basically I held someone's hand. Well, I've done this with multiple people, but this past weekend. And part of it was what to pack for a play party. And she's like, I have no idea.
Well, what happens? Like, are you definitely going to have sex? Are you watching people have sex? Like, what happens at these things?
So the beauty of play parties is that you do not have to play. You can go as a total voyeur and just observe. You can go and like make out with people or do other things, but say, hey, I'm not having sex. Or you can go to like hook up in every single way with another person, with two people. There's all kinds of configurations. I will say most play parties I go to, unfortunately, are still very heteronormative. But there are a few specific ones that have a little more focus on the queer community. So that is another thing that I would like to add. But you go in First of all, there's always a consent talk and the rules, because there's a lot of rules, and enthusiastic consent is very, very important. Most
But
of
does everybody
them,
arrive at the same time so that the consent talk
so
captures everybody, or so there's no ins and outs?
good question. No. Usually the door's shut by this time, so you better get your butt in there. Otherwise, you're not going to
Oh,
get in.
okay.
Some consent talks have been over Zoom in a group setting before, like a week before the actual party. Some are at the beginning of the party. Like if you're new, you get a certain bracelet and you get sent to the party, but you have to sit in a group setting with a talk, an introduction talk. And then you trade that bracelet for one that says you know what you're doing, or at least if you don't know what you're doing, you listen to what you're not supposed to do and what's
Mm-hmm.
acceptable. And so it just depends. But most of the intro talks, let's say the party starts at 9:30 officially, they will say get there by 9. The consent talks are at 9:15, and they'll run them like every 15 minutes until everyone's through and gets vetted, if you will.
Hmm.
Did I answer the question? I feel like
Yeah.
I've talked so much. Yeah. So it just
Yeah.
depends on the actual organization and the party,
And
but there must be, do not go if there's no consent talks or vetting somehow, like
right, to
you're
build in some safety
referred
and
or
some, yeah, frame. Okay. And so, and I can also see, I love that they're doing it on Zoom in advance too, so that there's, sometimes it's a buzzkill if you also get there and then everyone's sitting there like listening to, but it's important because otherwise you've got to have some parameters of what's acceptable. And are people doing drugs or drinking alcohol, or like what's happening in
so
the way of
that
substances?
I was just going to say, so unlike most dungeons, substances are not allowed at play parties at dungeons, which is more BDSM. At what we like to call more vanilla play parties, a lot of times alcohol is allowed if you bring your own, but drugs are not. So if
Mm-hmm.
someone's going to do something, they need to do it before they get to the party. And if
Okay.
anyone is inebriated or cannot, like, looks like they're drunk, like obviously they cannot consent to anything. And so
Yeah.
that's a big part of the talk as well. Like if
Mhm.
someone seems drunk or high and not available or in capacity to,
Mhm.
make right decisions, like that person, if someone took advantage of that, they would be kicked out right away.
And so then how much is like the person that's putting it on, like are there different rooms with different music? Like are there, you said themes, like how much are they facilitating the experience? Because people are walking in maybe nervous if they're newer, like how is it like a club? Like how is this working?
So again, it depends. If it's more in low key in a house, there will be a theme, but
Mhm.
it's not a club like a DJ or something like that. If it's a higher end party like Lovely Fate, there is a DJ, there's a performance, people are dancing. There's
Mhm.
multiple levels of different rooms going on, things going on. Like a top level might just be like mingling and talking, and a next level, not next level meaning higher, just like a different level of floor might be where all the play and sex is happening.
Mhm.
And then the themes are fun because they kind of lighten the feeling, if you will. Like there's been pajama parties, there's been doctor patient parties, there's been, the last one was winter wanderlust. So people were in big furry hats and little furry bikinis, if you will, or just you can play around a lot with it. And so that's why my client didn't know what to pack or what to
Right.
wear. And so she couldn't decide. And I take all genders and in between. She was like, I don't know what to wear. And I said, well, bring both, bring multiple outfits. So you can do outfit changes too, which is kind of fun. A
I
lot of
love
people
that.
do.
Like I can't decide, bring both. Okay.
Yeah, bring all 5. Like because you don't know what mood is going to strike you. And so yeah, and I always say the top 3 things to bring to a play party are sweatpants, flip-flops, and curiosity. And you're probably thinking, what sweatpants? But I'm telling you what, after being in an outfit or high heels or very skimpy, you don't want to be driving home. And usually it's like a 30-minute, 40-minute drive, unless you're living in Hollywood or downtown LA for me, which I do not. You don't want to be driving home in those things. So actually, I just put on my Viore joggers, and I'm not the only one who does that, and slip on my flip-flops, because you will thank me for doing that.
So you're all decked out going in, and then you're comfy going home.
100.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. What other things like might people not think about as they're heading into these play parties? Like what other like tips have you sort of gleaned as you've gone to different events?
A few things is you're going to see a lot of stuff, and you can watch, but you can't gawk, right? Unless they want you
A little
to.
side eye.
So sometimes you might ask, may I watch? Sometimes there's stages. So sometimes
they want you to watch, and sometimes
Exactly. So read the room, right? And I think that's the biggest thing, is read the room. Everyone's going there to have fun and explore in some way. And even if that means doing nothing with your body with someone else, you're still there to explore and kind of push against your boundaries and edges. So I would say, for sure, again, being open-minded. There's going to be all kinds of bodies, all kinds of states of dress. Like some people might be fully clothed, people might be fully naked. You're going to see all kinds of configurations of multiple bodies sometimes, like orgy type things. And I always like to go in to see,
are there older bodies too?
Yeah. Yep. Older bodies, younger bodies. I mean, I've been to play parties where there were people in their 70s and 80s, and it's like, yeah. I hope
you're a
that's where I am at.
gerontologist, so you're like,
exactly.
Right?
And it's so cool to see. And that sex has a lot of expanded definitions, right? It doesn't have to be penis and vagina. I mean, it can be, but sometimes you don't want that, or things don't work, or you're not feeling up for it, or whatever it is. And instead coming in with this playful, fun attitude, as opposed to like, oh, I gotta make sure I hook up with someone. Or it's not like a hook, it's not like bar culture at all.
And I love that you said curiosity, because then it's just like letting your curiosity lead you, of like, ooh, I kind of want to make out, and that's enough, right? That just that exchange and that energy just felt good, and then that's enough. Like I didn't need to take it to the next step or whatever. You know? Or just watching somebody. It's really arousing sometimes to just watch other people have a really charged moment of sexuality. Like that's fantastic.
100%. And most parties will give you either a different color bracelet, or one had little lights that you wear on a lanyard. And blue, if you had a blue light, it meant like, I'm here to meet people and converse, but not to play. And red meant I'm here to play. That doesn't mean I'm going to, but you can approach me and we can talk about that. But blue, no one would come up to me and be like, do you want to play? Because I'm wearing something that says, no, I'm friendly and I'm here and I want to hang out and meet cool people, but I'm not going to fuck you. So I don't know if I can say that.
You can totally say that.
Oh yeah, because it's spicy.
This is the VIP.
It's spicy after hours. And other places might have like a red bracelet, which means I don't want to play, or a green
wouldn't that
bracelet.
Be so nice if the world worked that way.
I know.
Right?
Or a rainbow bracelet. Yeah. Or a rainbow bracelet, meaning you're queer or you're up for different types of things. So yeah, that's what it's all about. It's like about communication. It's about, what do you desire? What are your needs? What are your boundaries? What are your hard no's? What are your yeses that might turn into a no? That's another thing. Like your yes can always turn into a no and stop. So it's really
there's containment, right? You're walking into this environment where there's play. The expectation is community and play and exploration, and it might turn into something you didn't expect. You can always pull back and just be an observer. You know, you can participate at different levels. It's fun. And the sliding scale, how does that work? Do you opt into your own? Is there an application process for that?
Well, the sliding scale is just what you pay for some, right? So it's like, if you can only pay a certain amount, then you will, but you still have to go through everything. I will say there's not many that offer sliding scales, but yeah.
I think that's just so progressive that they even have that option.
Right. Yeah. Why should just rich people get to have fun? You know, I mean, and there's actually been quite a bit of literature on that. in, Wall Street Journal and these different publications, because for a long time it was like, oh, play parties are just for the rich old men, basically, that are, and I'm sure that's still true in many cases. However, the scene is changing.
What's the ratio of men to women?
It's about, well, again, okay, it depends. Sorry, you're always going to get, it depends. I would say the more common kind of everybody type play party is going to be pretty even.
Okay.
The higher end ones, I would say, that invite women for free, but you have to, go through a whole process, that usually has a higher ratio of women to men. So it's totally misogynistic in that way. However, the one party I did go to that was way more like that, I found the BDSM room and just flogged people with one of my friends who happened to be there all night. So in a way, it was misogynistic, but we put those people back in their place.
So all in all, it was a good night.
They're always a good, like, I've never come away from one and been like, that sucked, I shouldn't have went. Like, they're always fun for me anyway.
And so when I think about clients who are intrigued by this process but terrified to go, they could reach out to you and say, okay, will you accompany me to one of these parties, or can you prep me? And they would reach out to you, as you flip hats and say, yes, this is one of the services I offer, and I will prep you, and I will even accompany you if need be to one of these parties.
Basically, it's like an escort, but not in the way that most people think an escort would be, because I'm not going to have sex with my client at a play party or any other place. But exactly. And so I've done it, and I feel like there's 3 ways. One, we could just, if I don't live near you or you don't want to come travel to me, we could just go online, and I've done this before, and I prep you for what to expect, what to wear, what to pack, how to behave, icebreakers, conversation starters, things like that. 2, I've taken people in a group setting on a kinky field trip, mostly to dungeons, but this could also apply to a play party. So it's multiple people who are new, but don't want, maybe it feels too much pressure for just a one-on-one. Or 3, you want me as your guide, if you will. And we go to dinner. I help you figure out what to wear. I help you pack your bag. And then we meet there or for dinner ahead of time, depending on what the situation is. And then I stay with you the whole time. And we look and figure out, like, that person looks interesting. That person looks interesting. And we go up to them, start the conversation. And, sometimes things happen. Magic happens.
I love this so much. All right. Well, we'll definitely put your contact information in these show notes. So if people want to reach out, this is for people who are located West Coast. Nicole is based in Los Angeles.
I will travel too.
Oh, even better.
Right?
Well, yeah. Well, thank you so much. This is incredible.
And thank you for having me.
Such a treat. So also you can go back and listen to the original episode, which we will link on here. But thanks so much.
Excellent.
Appreciate you jumping on with me again. All right.
Ciao.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to The Pleasure Project. If today's episode resonated with you, take a moment and please leave a review of the episode, or better yet, send it to someone who would appreciate the conversation. It really helps more people find the show. If you want to go deeper, you can explore my courses, workshops, articles, and educational resources at drjennkennedy.com. I also share the relationship insights, clips from the podcast, clinician perspectives, conversations around sex, intimacy, and emotional connection across social media. So come connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn at Dr. Jenn Kennedy. Thanks for being here, and see you next time.